can go first. I mean, mine is super short.
Go for it.
I'm sorry I missed the last meeting last week.
Oh, it's all right.
So you have to do 2 presentations today, right? Since you missed last week.
I hope not, because I'm prepared for one. Okay, let me just open mine here. Okay, and I'll share my screen. Okay, let me know when you guys can see it.
I can see it.
Perfect. Okay, so this week I'm presenting on JSON, and 2 weeks, I think, 2 weeks ago, right? It was when Lindsay presented. So I'm just gonna go over like the basics on JSON, and then I was trying to get some more information, something that might be useful for us in our coding and all that. So I'll show you a formula that I found that I've been trying to play with to understand it more. So just a quick review on JSON. JSON is a lightweight data interchange format, and it's easier for people to read and write since it's more like more text format instead of code. It is easy for machines to parse and generate, and is based on JavaScript because it's a text format. And it's, although it's independent from like C and C++ and C Sharp and Java and JavaScript and like and other programming languages, it does have some of those conventions, or it has some of those programs conventions of the not programs but languages. So to me, I think it's more versatile, like more flexible and versatile that way. So any understand JSON or program on JSON easier if they don't have to know like certain programming languages to be able to do it, since it just has like a little bit of everything, I will say. We know that JSON is most commonly known for its main structure, such as objects and arrays.
Sorry, can I interrupt you for a second? Yeah. Your slides are not changing.
Oh, really?
Yes, I had this issue before. Are you just sharing your PowerPoint window on your screen and not your whole screen?
Yes. Haha.
I had that issue too, and I can't remember how to fix it.
Let me stop sharing, and then I'll do it again, and I'll do entire screen. Is that better?
There you go.
Perfect. Okay, so this is what I just talked about. And then we know that JSON is most commonly known for its main structure, such as like objects and arrays. And I mean, I noticed that like those two names are more common since they're like Java or JavaScript based, but they also vary, like depending on the language, they call them like different names, but they're pretty much the same, just objects and arrays. But they should, all programming languages should be able to support any of those like objects or arrays in using JSON. So I'll just have some examples, or like how do you pretty much write an object or create an object on JSON. It's an unordered set of values or names, and it just begins with the open bracket. Is that how you call it? Well, with that, the open bracket, and then you end up with a closed bracket like that, and then you separate each name followed by the colon, and then just a comma. And for the array, it's an ordered collection of values, and it begins with that. I can't remember the name of it. It's not a bracket. It's well,
the square bracket. You're right.
Square bracket. Thank you. And then you end up with the end bracket, the other square bracket, and then you just separate it with a comma as well. And I have an example here, just like how you get the menu would be the object, and how you separate it with a colon, and then we have a set of values or names, and then it has like multiple objects on each one, and then it just separates itself with a comma, and then we have like three not formulas, methods kinda over there as well. And this is the function that I was talking about. It's called parse, and it's used to convert JSON text into an object. So any text that you have in your like on your script or on your program, you can just like use this parse to convert into the text into an object, and you can do it after you can do it an array and a variable as well. So the parse function rejects all scripts other than JSON, which is really good because there's another function that's called eval. It's more common because it's more commonly used, but it's not as secure as parse, and it's a little bit slower than parser function. Since eval just runs every kind of script, it just takes it all and just it generates it and just runs it all. So you can just have malicious script on it, and then it'll run slow, and then you'll have other issues. And parse, on the other hand, would just select what is JSON script, and it's more secure for the program when you're running it. So just an example of that is just you declare this variable, my object, and then the function is JSON.parse, and usually we see for instance in the eval function is just eval and then the open parenthesis. But this one, you just declare JSON.parse, the text in between the parentheses, and then you just run it. And then you can do that in throughout the whole program, whenever you want to convert from text to objects. And then you can just I saw some examples that they can just use it for other arrays, and eventually just do other functions with it to console.logs and stuff like that. So I just had a simple example of that here on just how to create the project, and this is basic HTML, and then over here I have the text, and then I have all the values or the names, and I have it in an array. So if I want to create an object from those names, from the values on the array, I just use that function, and then I'll just do it, and I'll just run it so you guys can see it. And it just creates the object over here, Anna Smith, since we selected one, but we can just do it for index 0, and then just run it, and then it'll do another object, and so on. So I think it was simple enough, but still useful if we wanted to create objects, or just create objects from an array, from just a string. And that's all I've got. Do you guys have any questions?
No, good job.
Yeah, it's good.
Good job, Melissa.
Thank you, guys.
Just a quick question about when you talked about object and arrays.
Mm-hmm.
Can you use integer? Can you declare integers?
Yes. So it depends, because you can declare as you can declare it as a variable, or if you do it just as an integer, if you do it as a string, it will. If you just do it as a numeric value, or sorry, I'm not sure you can do that. This is mostly just when you want to do a text, a string of text, and just do it as an object. But That's what I found out, but I didn't see any information with the integers.
Okay.
That's me.
Sounds like a big dog.
Oh my! I have 2 dogs and they're crazy together. Sorry. I try to lock them out, but they start crying. And I don't know who else is presenting today.
I think it's me and Adam. Are you doing one again?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna text.
Adam's presenting, so we're just gonna have Adam do it from now on, right, Adam?
Well, I'll go next. If that's good with everyone.
Yeah.
Mine was Ajax, and I'll be honest, I am still quite confused on everything that it can do. I didn't make a PowerPoint this week, but I'll share my screen and you can look at the.
Did you do Ajax?
Mm-hmm. I noticed you are too, so you can fill in my blanks probably.
Okay that we do both?
Okay. I assume so. Brother James saw our schedule, so.
Alright, my bad.
But like I said, maybe you can fill in the gaps on what I'm missing because I'm feeling like I do not understand this very well.
So, Lindsay, you're saying that my PowerPoint wasn't good last week?
No, I never said that.
That is what I'm saying. No.
Let me, that's my little page of notes here. Okay. So you can just look at this code while I talk for a second. Okay, so it stands for asynchronous JavaScript and XML. And I thought it was interesting that the W3 Schools website said that you don't have to know XML to use Ajax, which is was funny to me since it's called asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Another interesting fact that, well, I thought was interesting, was that it was made popular by Google Suggest in 2005, which is just how when you start typing in the Google search box that it offers that drop down of suggestions. So that's Ajax. And it's used to update a web page without having to reload the page. And it requests data from the server after the page has already loaded, and then it receives data after the page has loaded. So the idea behind it is just to be able to update a web page without having to reload the whole thing. So you can basically create a dynamic web page quickly. And it works by updating the web page by exchanging small amounts of data with the server, and you don't see any of that happening. So Google Maps and YouTube and Facebook, all those things use Ajax. And it works by an event occurs, like clicking a button or something, and an XML HTTP request is sent. And the server processes the request and creates a response. And then the browser uses JavaScript to process the returned data and update the page. So the syntax for it is just you have a variable and you set it equal to new XML HTTP request. I thought there was one here. Maybe not. And then, and then to send the request to the server, you use this open and send methods of the HTTP request object. And I thought there was an example of that one here too. I don't know. Okay. Anyway. Oh, it's right here. So there's xhttp.open, and then inside this open, you can do a get or a post, but you would use get, or you use post when opening a cached file isn't an option, or you're sending a lot of data to the server, or you're sending user input that might have some like unknown characters or something. So otherwise you just use get, and then you specify the file that it's getting from, and then you have to set it equal to true to get the asynchronous so that it does that. So I think that's pretty much all I've understood of it so far. So this example is pretty much straight from the W3 Schools website. So it's just has a button that when it's clicked, it's running this function, and then this is the function. And this is what I don't understand is all the stuff that's happening here. Pretty much what I understand is this. It's just going to pull whatever is in this file, and all I put in this file was just some words, so that when it actually runs, it looks like, oops. So this was that first page, and then you click the button to run that function, and it changes the text, which is similar to what I was doing with DOM last week. And so that's what I'm saying, I'm not sure I totally understand what else you could do with Ajax, or I don't know. I just know that I need to spend some more time on this because I can't wrap my mind around it. And like I said, I'm not totally sure what all of this is doing. But that's all I had for mine.
Good job.
Thanks. I'm not very confident in this one. It was hard.
You're good, yeah.
So hopefully Adam can fill in some more.
So you do this just on the main page, where like it's retrieving information from other documents?
Yeah, and it said that it could retrieve from pretty much any type of file. Like you could have it retrieve something from a PHP file. So my thinking is that it could be very dynamic, because your PHP can do something that then does something different on the page that's calling the PHP page. I don't know. Like I said, I need to spend a lot more time on this because.
Lindsay,
yes.
Can you go back to that slide, the one with the code on it?
Yes.
The one you said.
This one.
That one. Yeah. So the one you highlighted, the blue stuff from the if to the bottom all the way down to open. So that's the function that when you send to the server, unlike you talked about how you have to send it the X.
This request.
Yeah. So you send the request. Definitely you have to run it that way. So that function it doesn't change. I think it does change if you want to add data to it, like if you wanted to pull any data from another database. I'm not sure how to do that part. I'm confused with that portion as well. But the most of it, the if and all that stuff, stays the same. And then the only thing about the get and post on that section right there, I think gets run through the HTML, which is the screen. But if it's very large files and sensitive information, and you might want to get some errors and display your data on the screen, so you have to put post, and post runs it behind the server, so it doesn't show any errors on the screen on the Windows. So that's the difference between gets and post.
Yeah, and it sounded like pretty much for most of it you would want to use get anyway. There was just a couple of instances where post would be better, but for the most part it sounded like get was the way to go.
Correct. I don't think Ajax you want to run anything heavy on it. I think most of it just refresh stuff to the screen. It doesn't like if you have to use PHP for large information like that.
Sure. And then, so do you know what this is doing? Because this, I saw something about this on ready state
Yeah.
change.
So this is a function that calls it. If you can go back again, if you have to have all those numbers, the 200, the 4, the 4 status, and if it's some of it doesn't match, you get the error. So
Yeah, I'll cover a little bit of that.
okay, cool. So
Oh, perfect. Okay, well then maybe we'll let Adam do his thing, and then
yeah.
hopefully we'll fill
Yeah,
in the
let's do that. Let's just. I'm just kidding. Okay. So can you see my screen? Are we good?
Yeah.
All right. So thanks to Chino's amazing PowerPoint the previous week, we were able to learn exactly what Ajax is, as well as Lindsay, and so we know it's a program. It's not really a programming language. It's just a method within JavaScript that helps you do certain things, as mentioned before, such as login windows that pop up on a screen instead of taking you to a completely different screen to log in. The Google autocomplete search bar was mentioned. Voting, any voting system that when you click on I like or a 1+, it doesn't reload the page in order to show that update. It's automatic. Web content is updated, and it also helps with smoother user experiences. As far as those numbers that you were mentioning, this was on the W3C or W3 school site, and the ready state, there's different numbers that equate to the status of where the server is. And so the reason why you have the ready state equal to 4 means that the request was sent, it's finished, and it's ready to respond. Whereas, as well as the status, it needs to be equal to 200. So let me come over here to this my code. So here, I've got I created a variable with the HTTP request and onReady state change with the function. And so if the HTTP request ready state is equal to 4, meaning that it's been ready and processed, and that the status is equal to 200, meaning it's ready to go, then let's return the data and basically work through the function. Otherwise, it's going to hit the error and it won't run through the function. That is essentially what that those numbers right there is all it's saying is verifying that it's been able to communicate with the database and then refer back to the site. So that's what those numbers are. This is an example that I've been able to come up with. So this is my home page, and then if you go into the Ajax. So I created a form to where when a user puts in their information, and then you submit the data, it's going to send the first and last name to the database, and then the Ajax will then return that information back. So it did the whole process. It showed it for a very quick moment, processing, and then it popped up that the PHP file was able to relate that information and communicate it. So again, this is the code. Right here is the HTML. So it's just a simple form input fields, and then I created an ID of first name, last name, and then within the function of Ajax post, I basically created the HTTP request, created a variable for the URL, which is referring to a PHP file, a variable of getting the first name and last name, and then creating a variable of the values and names of each of those components. And then right in this section here is really where Ajax is really, coming to life, where you say, okay, the HTTP request is open. In this method, I used a post, used the variable of URL true, which is then sent. Whenever you are using post, by the way, you need to add these parameters. For whatever reason, it's just one of those things that versus get, I don't think you have to use them with get, the get method. And then this, again, is just showing, okay, if the state of the database is ready, then it's made these checkpoints, then continue and then return the data. And so it's then able to communicate with the PHP file, which is here. It's just a simple PHP file of the string. So once Ajax sent the first name and the last name, the PHP was able to input those fields and then push it to the database and then reverse it back for display. And yes, that's any questions? It's a lot to deal with, but
So how come, how come you did post? Just because you were getting user input, or what was your reasoning on that one? Just out of curiosity.
My reasoning is I figure post is probably, I don't know. For me, I don't like having any information like up in the URL bar.
Okay.
So just understanding how to use post would help, is valuable to know, because for some companies, especially with like the forms of purchasing something with credit cards and
right. Well, I know like even username and password they don't want going through the URL.
Right.
So okay.
It's a pain to like try and figure out how it all works, and my understanding still isn't like 100%, but just sort of explaining it to you just now, it's sort of getting there. Like, but I don't know. The only thing that's really muddy to me still is this right here. The variable of create, and I think this has to do with communicating with PHP. I could be wrong though.
So Adam, I got a quick question. So when you created that PHP file,
yeah,
did you have? How did you store it? Like, is that the same location on the same file and acts as a database?
It's stored in the same directory.
Oh, okay.
As the Ajax file.
So it sees it like right there.
Right. So within the URL. So it just understands. It just basically looked right within the same directory. Whereas if I put it someplace else within my site, I would probably then have to distinguish where
the URL address. Yeah.
Or whatever.
So just bringing it from the root directory. Just getting it from the root.
Yeah. It's just going to the default directory, which is wherever it's stored. Like, since the Ajax file is in one part, it would like automatically check that same directory for that PHP file. unless I otherwise said where it would be found.
Stored. Okay. Mm.
Yeah, that's really good how you demonstrate how to use Ajax with PHP. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Took
that
me
was.
a
Oh, go
lot.
ahead.
It's nothing. It just took me a lot. I'm like,
No, that was way good. You did a good job explaining everything too. Although I still don't understand all those numbers. Like, why would you put like a 2 or a 1 or a 2 or a 3? Like, wouldn't
I
that
don't
not
think you
do
would.
anything?
No, uh, so maybe it's for testing purposes,
Okay, that could be. So pretty
or
much we just leave it at 4 and 200 and then don't question it.
or what you could do, like the whole process, like a GIF image of like if you're transferring a ton of data to where you could say, okay, if the ready state is sent and it's equal to 0, then begin, I guess, going through an array of images to sort of show like a status bar of like it loading or uploading. And then once it reaches 4, then you could, I don't know, does that make sense? I'm just guessing here. I'm just throwing something out there of why it could be.
Okay. Yes.
I don't know.
No, I could see your reasoning behind that. But
Probably
okay.
3. Like the ready state 3, where it's actually processing the request, that would probably be more of a reason to show a
Gotcha.
status bar.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, nicely done.
Yeah, thank you, Adam and Lindsay.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Do you have something for us, Gino, or no?
I don't think I have anything this week.
Yeah, I think Ashley was the other one this week. So.
I sent her a text, but she didn't answer, so I don't know.
And we never
No.
heard from that gentleman again from Nigeria.
No, I haven't heard anything from him.
From Florian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a very unique schedule. I mean, time zone, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to work with.
Yeah, it'll be hard for us to wake up at 6 o'clock and do this call.
Yeah.
Well, me and Adam, we're done next week with our presentations. One more.
Booyah!
I know.
Oh. All right. Well, anything else?
I think we're good.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you so
problem.
much. Thank you for presenting.
Well, we'll see you next week.
All right, good luck.
Have a good
Thanks,
weekend.
guys. You too. Take care.
You too.